Evil twins. Leche de madre. Love milk, man. Evil twins. There's so many of us throughout our lives. My dad's a good one for spreading these things around. He'll always say, that guy on the TV commercial, he just looks like your brother. And you sit there and you look and you go, he doesn't look just like my brother. He resembles him. So they can say you resemble someone, which is interesting. If you resemble someone closely enough, I've said this before, people with certain semblances, that they have different personality types. I've noticed that somebody that resembles somebody else I know, if I meet them somewhere in some other part of the world or something, they seem to have the same kind of personality. I guess there's some inner working thing at a cellular level and with our DNA and everything that tells us what kind of people are certain types of people and how you should treat them. It's almost a form of bigotry. You don't have any prior knowledge. It just feels right. So people get treated a certain way for looking a certain way, and it may not be that they're genetically predisposed to have that personality, but when they're having something pressed on them enough, the rock's got it built. Its surface, its shelter. It just and it uses whatever it is to defend itself, whether it's humor or aggression or aggressive humor. This is what we get out of what we've been given. Don't take lemons and make lemonade. Put them in the freezer. That way when the cats are screwing down under your window in the middle of the night on George Street, you can go get one of those damn lemons that's in the freezer and you hock it down at them and they run back down the alley and it's done for the night. Don't make lemonade. Make weapons. Like a can of Bumblebee. What I'm saying is we have somebody that resembles us, but that's not someone that looks like us, just like us. And I'm a person that I've traveled quite a bit, and many places I go, somebody will come up and say, hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. And I sit there, I have no idea who you are. I've never been in here in my life. And they're like, haven't seen you in 6 months. You've been in jail or something, Just like, I didn't know. And the one guy in Texas, he was so convinced that I was his friend that I thought about making up some bad story about his friend just to make his friend look like an asshole. Just to screw with things a little bit. I could have, and I decided not to. I let it go. I'm like, man, I hate to tell you this. I'm not that guy. And so I've always found it kind of fun that I could be the evil twin. That evil twin. And then I found out how fun it isn't. When I was living in Kalamazoo, I started going to this bar that I'd never been to since it opened. I stayed away from it for the longest time when they switched owners and it was closed for a year or two. And so after it'd been open a while, I started going by there. I just walked down Rupert's. where the old strut used to be in the record store. But soda pops or something, I don't know. People are always talking. Everybody's so excited to be someplace they were once before. I mean, what more are you getting out of it? Maybe it's time to go someplace else. But the owner, when I started going in there, he just had a cold shoulder to me. He always looking at me. Always looking at me. I'm like, oh, what the hell is this guy's problem? I could tell, though, that there was something about me he didn't like. Who could not like me? And then one day, standing outside, smoking a cigarette, and he's out there, it's in the afternoon, he's smoking a cigarette. And we've spoken just enough to be speakable, but there's no connection, you know, it's standoffish or hateful or something. And he's smoking, he looks at me and he finally says it. He said, I remember you. And I said, what? He says, yeah, about 6 months ago, you came in here and you were dressed in a robe and you had a bag and you screamed out that you were going to kill everybody in the place or something. You threw it on the bag, and I, the storytelling bar owner, I came across and I pushed you away and I said, get the fuck out of here. And he went running and he called the cops, and in the bag there were like 3 machetes and like a hatchet of some sort and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, I'm sitting there thinking, and I said, I don't even own a machete. I said, that wasn't me. And he's like, oh, it was you. It was you. I said, that can't even be. I wasn't even coming in here yet. And I tried to convince him. And he says, no. He said, it was you, same hair and everything. And at that time, I had shaved my head in December. And after getting my new driver's license. And I had short hair. It was just growing back, you know. Looking like I was a teenage werewolf, Michael Landon at that point. I still had some hair. And I'm thinking, and I took out my license. I said, well, that's not right. I said, because my hair is just growing back. I said, that 6 months ago, I said, that was my new driver's license picture. I said, it couldn't have been. Look how happy he is. It was like, oh, the Secretary of State office had oh, geez, yeah, no secret anymore about that. With Mackinac Bridge, I live under it. Yeah, the Secretary of State office had been closed for about hour and a half, 2 hours at that point. They wouldn't let anybody out, and you know, it was that place where people are losing their minds. And I'm sitting there, when they first shut the doors, they said, you know, you're locked in. The guy's sitting there, he's a serious guy. He says, you're locked in. He says, you can use the bathroom if you need to, but anybody walks out those doors, they're not coming back in. And I raised my hand and I said, is it all right if I smoke? And everybody laughed, and he was just like, no. And he turned around, he was all business. And then they did their thing, and people were in groups, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just watching people get fucking wild, and, you know, they're just, and I was, with our group, we were having a good time. I cracked jokes. I was sitting next to some girl and a couple old women, and we were just having a good time and laughing about all this. And so when I got my picture taken, I said, look how happy I am. That was 2000. I don't know, 18 or 19. Yeah, that was just a couple of years ago. It was like a glamour shots photo. So I showed him that picture, and he's like, he's just looking and he's saying, I know you want to believe that it wasn't you. I believe that you believe that, but that was you. And I'm saying, what the hell do I do? I didn't even own a machete. So what I did, I went home and I took pictures of the couple of robes I had, and I took them back down there. And I said, look, in the picture, I said, is that, or either one of these the robe you're talking about? He said, no. And he said the police had shown up afterwards, and they said, yeah, we know the guy you're talking about. He's off his meds. And I told him, I said, I'm not even on meds. What do you think I drink for? And he just wouldn't believe it. Nothing faced up. But I have an evil twin, and I started getting spotted in other parts of town. One guy I worked with came in, he said, you're here. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I swear, he said, I was just standing behind you in line at the store, at the gas station, and I swore it was you, but you were shorter. And he was wigged out. So I had somebody, and then another guy saw me with his wife. I knew both of them. Saw me on a street corner digging something. And he said, it was you. But you looked at me like you didn't know me. And I was like, so as it turns out, I always knew there'd be an evil twin involved. I just didn't ever expect me to have an evil twin screwing with my livelihood. You know, I feel like I never did get directions to that street corner. I wanted to go find that guy and maybe punch him in the face, or maybe have a beer with him. I don't know. All I can say is since then, you know, this is my Tibetan monk's robe. I do have robes. Oh, I've got a good red dragon one up there too. But since then, I went to Harbor Freight the one day, and out under the, what do you call it? The little tent. They have machetes. Like, jeez, oh man. I never wanted a machete in my life until that guy brought that up. And try as I might, I was out in the parking lot after I bought it, showing all these people the machetes, saying, you gotta get one, you gotta get one. They're only $5. You gotta get one. And, well, I don't know. They probably didn't want to be on a list of people that bought machetes from Harbor Freight that day. That's good. It'll give me less time to feel like I'm running away from something. Watch out for evil twin. Who knows how dark they can get.